Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the second installment of End of the Third Quarter, where hopefully we will be able to put together a better product for you this week than we did last week. We do apologize for how rough the very first show last week looked, as we were working on having to possibly transition from StreamYard, which we're on right now, over to OBS, which we're not going to try to use again, as long as we can continue working around that with what we've got here on StreamYard. So what we finally decided to do after sitting here watching scores all day today to figure out what we were going to use as our graphics or our talk about for the night of the end of the third quarter, what games we should be highlighting and stuff like that. We finally came up with a criteria. Criteria is going to be if the games are within 10 points or if the projected win probability on MFL says that a game is within single digits of each other, say like 54 to 46 or something like that, we're within single digits of something like that, then we will highlight the game. Unfortunately for us, there isn't a lot of games like that this week. There has been a huge run this afternoon on these games that MFL was projected as like 50-50 games. Jason says he's watching, but I have sound off. You're not missing anything then at all. These games that were 50-50 completely flip-flopped. Damien on with us. What's up, brother? And I'm glad you're here. We're going to actually talk about your game. One of the few games that we can talk about. These 50-50 games that started off earlier today, that was that way. My game included in the WRL, and how it's completely flip-flopped. A lot of these games are now at the 99 to 1%, because I'm going to assume the majority of everybody is done, and not very many people have anybody left Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, which is our fourth quarter here. So we're going to highlight some third quarter games. And then I'm going to look back over, since the Cincinnati and Kansas City game is now over, to see if that criteria of within the 10 points or within single digits on the win probability happens for any of the other games in any of the FSA leagues going on right now. But before we do that, let's get to what we said was going to be the game of the week on the show on Wednesday night in the APFL. And let me see if I can get this to switch over and then come back up on the screen. So this was going to be the game of the week right here. It was going to be the Green Bay Cheeseheads versus the Detroit Pride. As you can already see, neither one of the teams had anybody playing on Thursday night. All of those points being collected today. Right now, Green Bay is ahead 78 to 74. That puts us in our criteria of within 10 points. But here's what we're looking at for that game for the rest of for the fourth quarter for Sunday Night Football on Monday night. The win probability right now is in favor of the Green Bay Cheeseheads. Win probability says 79% for him. Detroit Pride at 21%. Green Bay has Saquon Barkley playing on Monday night, and he also has Nico Collins playing tonight. And then on the Detroit side, they have Atlanta running back Bijan Robinson playing tomorrow night, as well as Philadelphia tight end Dallas Goedert playing tomorrow night. The projected final score is in favor of Green Bay, 111 to 101. I agree with you. It definitely feels closer than that percentage. I think even with those players that are still there, I could see almost a push between Barkley and Bijan. And then I don't know. It just depends on how much work they get Goddard in this week, and then what they do with Nico as well, and how this can turn out. Exactly. So Goddard could eat up some targets with Antonio and AJB being out. Absolutely. So he could get extra targets. 100% agree with you. Let's get this back up here. That was the only graphic I had for you all for tonight. It really is difficult to try to put something together that quick whenever we've decided, okay, it's time to pull the plug. Even for your game, Damien, tonight, I kept trying to wait to update on Toby's side until that game was done. And it finally ended in the last couple of minutes of waiting. But he didn't get any extra points. Like at the 2-minute warning, I finally went ahead and put the points on the graphic and rolled with it. But it was Jamar Chase that he still had left up there, and he didn't put any more points up on the board after that. So what we see there is the score as of right now with the 4 and 425 games being done. Of course, we've got Sunday Night Football tonight. We've got Houston and Chicago. Yeah, I'm sure you were, as I was too. So I could get that graphic done. I was watching it really, really close. I see your note up here saying Keenan Allen is out tonight. So I'm wondering what that's going to look like on the Chicago side and if that does anything for anybody. Good thing for you, he's got nobody on the Chicago side. For you, you don't have anybody either. So just got Houston going tonight. I have a feeling after watching Chicago play last week, I think this is going to probably be a blowout, actually. I think Houston runs away with this pretty easily. Joshua out there with us. That's what's going on, brother. How are you? You know what? That's what Misty kept coming in and saying the same thing to me too. She was like giving me the updates. I don't know why I didn't even think about turning it on the TV in here where I was working on that, but ultimately I have to end up using the TV anyways to be able to do StreamYard this way nowadays. So I should have just turned it on and watched the final little bit of it in here. But I will definitely be getting Sunday Night Football on the big screen in the bedroom. So let's talk about, the other criteria that we said here tonight for all of these games is going to be within 10 points and then with percentage points being in single digits. So let me run through the APFL games real quick over here on the side and see if that applies to anybody. A lot of 99 percenters. Nobody within 10 points of each other yet. Trying to go through these. We do have a close game right here, actually, between the Denver Mustangs and the Kansas City Arrowheads. That game right now, Arrowheads are in the lead 89-80, fits our 10-point criteria. But the win probability is 12-point difference. Denver is supposed to get that win 56-44 percentage-wise. Denver has Bijan Robinson still left to go, and Kansas City Arrowheads have Darryl Mooney left to go. I would think even with that 9-point favorite, I would feel pretty comfortable if I was Denver in getting that. It's probably why MFL is leaning on it, the 58-42. What do we got here, Damon? Chiefs always find a way. It was a fair call, but got to let them play too. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to go back and watch this. I'm sure if I jump on the NFL News channel on Discord, I'll get these highlights that you guys are talking about. I will say that there's a couple of times where I ask you guys, do you have that anywhere we can see? And literally, if I go back and use Discord the way it's supposed to be used for us, I will see those highlights as they're getting pushed over by all of these different sources from the NFL over to us. So let's see if we got anybody else. So Denver, Kansas City is a pretty close game within 10 points. Let's see if we get anybody percentage-wise. It's looking like most of the games are done. Not a lot of people have anybody left for Sunday night, Monday night. Here's one. It is a 8-point win probability percentage difference. Right now, the Minnesota Norsemen are up on the Chicago Monsters. Norsemen are done at 100 points. Chicago Monsters at 51 points, but they do have Jalen Hurts and Dalton Schultz and Joe Mixon left to go. So they are down by 49 with those three players left to go, and they have a win probability of 54. So it's going to be another close one there, I would say. And that might be it as far as the APFL goes. Let's go over to the WRL and look real quick. Yes, 100% agree. There were a lot of blowouts in WRL this week. I'm going to go through here and see if there's anything. The Rory Lions and the Werebears are really, really close. I mean, they're within decimal points of that 10 points, but it does give the nod to the Roaring Lions right now by an 88% win probability. They've got Bijan Robinson still left to play for the Roaring Lions, and then Joe Mixon left to play for the Werebears. So that could end up being a really close game. Trying to see if there's anybody else that was close. There was a couple of them, but these 4:00 games open it up for a lot of people. I don't know that we've got too many that we really have to highlight here. Groot's pretty close win probability. They're down by 12 points to the Gridiron Grinders. Groot up 164-94 right now, so it's a 70-point difference. But it does show that the win probability is in favor of the Gridiron Grinders, 55-45, because he does have 5 players left to go. He's got Bijan Robinson, Nico Collins, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, and Texas defense going. So a lot to still be had there and gained by the Gridiron Grinders. Trying to see if we've got anything. Big surprise, just because I wanted to throw it out there. We all kind of poke fun at the Iron Badgers and how crazy their draft was. They are the last place team in the Cerberus region right now, and they are playing the number 1 team in the Cerberus region, Totally Turtley. He's already got a 99% win probability on him. He is up on her by, quick math tells me, 77 points. She has one player left to go, and that's Joe Mixon, and he is done. Let's go through this a couple more. As I'm going through these and looking, I did go off of the win probability percentages that MFL has given, just to kind of give us an idea if the game does finish that way. What are we looking at as far as teams that will still be left undefeated in the WRL? And the number came out to 16 teams out of the 60 still left undefeated. So it's actually not that big of a number. It's only like 26% of the league. Close game in points right now. The Cavalry down 153 to the Melon Hawks 158. That is a final for the Cavalry, though, so they're down by 5. Win probability in favor of the Melon Hawks, 99%. He does have 2 players left to go tonight to go for the fourth quarter. Saquon Barkley and Dallas Scott are both playing tomorrow. And I do believe, if memory serves me, that really is the last game to kind of highlight. And, yeah, we'll go back to what your comment was then, too, Damian. A lot of blowouts in the WRL this week. It's very crazy that after all of this, we're only going to have 16 teams that are left undefeated as well. So a lot of parity in the league, especially for 60 teams. I do like that. No close games in the F3L right now that we can really pull up either. We've got one that's within 22 points. It does say the projected points for the end of this, with both of them having 5 left to play, that the Oakland Seniors are in favor over the Washington Redskins. Joshua, I don't know if you're still out there or not, by 8 points. And that really is the closest game that we have in the F3L this week. Pretty big blowouts there as well. Even though they've got a 20-point lead right now, the Atlanta Flames over the Nebraska Bug Eaters, that final score is probably supposed to only be a favor of 17 points for the Atlanta Flames. So them getting a win over the Bug Eaters. Berg says, I need to have Mixon have a 70-point game. That would definitely be the highest score I think that we've ever had from a player in our league. I'd have to go back and really look at that to see what it is. WRL. Oh, you mean in WRL? Yeah. Yeah, Joshua, it should be really close for you guys. Should be a pretty good game there. And he almost did last week. Must be talking about Mixon. I don't know. Was it the Mixon having that many points? Was it in the WRL or APFL scoring, or was it in the F3L scoring? Because F3L scoring can get crazy. Like, I don't believe that. Let me see. Let me pick out somebody who didn't have what we would consider probably the greatest of games, but still put up some pretty decent numbers. I mean, when Geno Smith is putting up 60 points as a quarterback, that's kind of crazy. Individual defensive guys putting up 28 points. There's a lot of points being passed around in the F3L. And once you finally get your head wrapped around the scoring system, it is pretty good. You literally can put together a defensive-minded or defensive-based team. And I think, Josh, you did that for the Washington Redskins. And you still can be very competitive in this league. So good on you for doing that. I think that was probably a secret weapon for you. Got a lot of good players cheap by going after defense first, and left you money left over to still pick up some really good offensive players, probably players people weren't thinking about, like probably James Cook, down on a lot of people's radars. Got you 42 points this week. Quentin Johnson, the fact that you started him this week and he finally had a good week getting you 30 points, good on you for doing that. As the rest of us had him sitting on our benches. I know I did in one league. I know the wife did in one league as well. She's a little upset about it, but she'll get over it. You shouldn't have abandoned the quarterbacks. I don't know. Brissett's looking pretty good right now. New England, did they end up losing today? I know we were talking about it wouldn't be crazy if they went 2-0, but I think they did end up losing that game, right? Seattle ended up beating them in overtime. Yeah, no, I think you did okay. It's going to be the year after this that's going to be like, what do we do with these teams, right? So that's really all I got for football highlights. What I do want to do, though, is I do want to highlight, we'll call this, since we're at the end of the third quarter now, we'll call this the bottom of the ninth inning. I wanted to give a quick baseball update as well for the APBL. We are in the first round of the playoffs, the number 1 and number 2 seeds getting byes. So we've got the 4-5 playing against each other and the 3-6 playing against each other. As I was coming on earlier, we had a tie in the baseball game for the 4-5, being 276 to 276. The games are starting to end, and we are starting to get the win losses for the pitchers added on there now that the games are ended. So in the last couple of minutes, the Chicago Cubs have gone up over the Arizona Diamondbacks in our league, 278 to 277. I don't know what these win losses are going to look like. As far as projection goes, it says the Cubs projected at 278. I'm going to assume, since they have 278, that's probably a final score for them then. And I'm going to assume that there's still some win losses to be handed out for the Diamondbacks, because they're sitting at 277, and it says a possibility of getting 282. Going to be a very close game. Will be an announcement made in the APBL channel tomorrow of who plays who in the semifinals in the APBL. Appreciate you all coming out for the second installment of the end of the third quarter. Hope this one was a little bit better than last week, graphically wise, or for more information that we put out. 31.8 in the WRL last week. Let's hope he can have another week like that for people who need him then. I think I've got him in a league somewhere. It'd be nice to have that type of output for him, no matter what the scoring system is. But appreciate you all. We will do this again next week as we kind of hone in on what we're going to use as the criteria. Kind of put it out tonight, but maybe we might be able to hone in on that a little bit more, and also be able to get more highlights for you all for the end of the third quarter as we're going into Sunday night. Yo, what's up, Kevin? Congratulations on your big win with your bets today. Congrats. So honing in on and getting some more stuff on here for you all. So, we're not just looking at a single game, but it was tough to pick any games out this week. Like Damian said, a lot of blowouts in the WRL. Let's hope that isn't the same case for the next couple of weeks, and we can get some more content on there. Maybe we can get some of the regional managers to show up with me here as well. The end of the third quarter, we can talk about it. And then Kev and Damian, since I got you both here, hopefully you're both still here. Get ready. I think we're about 2 weeks away from probably doing our first show of band. And I'd like you two to be a part of it if we can make that happen. So you'll have a great night. Enjoy Sunday night football. Enjoy Monday night football. And then we will be back on Wednesday for a week 2 recap. Enjoy your evening.